At the time of the 2020 NFL Draft, there were 4 different quarterbacks projected to go within the first 32 picks by most people, and those quarterbacks were Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, and last but not least, Jordan Love. Now, Joe Burrow was pretty much everybody's consensus QB1, but there was a large debate at the time between who was quarterback 2 in this draft class. Was it Justin Herbert? Was it Tua? Was it Jordan Love? Personally, for me, I thought Jordan Love was the best out of these 3, and in this video, I'm going to be going over why we shouldn't give up on him just yet, and why the Packers need to trade him immediately if they're not going to use him. Now, at the time of the draft, it was very clear that Joe Burrow and Tua were lacking in arm strength, while Justin Herbert and Jordan Love had plenty of arm strength to spare. Every time these two threw a ball, it looked like it was being shot out of a cannon. And Jordan Love was very similar to Justin Herbert in a lot of ways. He was a dual threat quarterback as well. He showed a great ability to be able to improvise and go on the run, which a lot of quarterbacks in this class were able to do. But the one lingering concern with Jordan Love throughout all of this was the fact that he had regressed heavily from his sophomore year at Utah State into his junior year. But obviously, there was a reason why the Packers took him at 26 when they had Aaron Rodgers, and that was because he was the highest available player on their draft board, and the Packers are known for taking the highest player available no matter what position usually. And the Packers are also known at being pretty good at scouting NFL talent. They've had a lot of hits on draft picks in the past couple of years. But just going over Jordan Love's 2018 versus 2019 season at Utah State, in 2018 he had a 64% completion percentage, threw for over 3,500 yards, 8.6 yards per attempt with 32 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a 158.3 passer rating. However, in his junior year, he had a 61.9% completion percentage, under 3,500 yards, only 7.2 yards per attempt. He threw only 20 touchdowns, and he increased his 6 interceptions to 17 interceptions with a passer rating of 129.1. And looking at these numbers, this obviously does not look very good. You would think, just based off the stats, why would you take this guy first round? And this really proves another point that stats in college don't really matter a lot in terms of determining NFL talent. But you also have to consider the fact that after his sophomore season, a lot of the roster left to declare for the NFL draft, and a lot of coaching changes were made at Utah State, which made it hard for him to adjust in 2019. And maybe it wasn't the best for him to come out this year, but he obviously still was projected to be a first or second round pick, so he's obviously going to come out if he's going to be picked very high in that class. There's really no reason to come back, especially when you've already had a down year. And obviously, Jordan Love is a very raw player, and we've already seen one game from him against the Kansas City Chiefs where he played all right. I mean, it wasn't amazing or anything, but I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers, who sat the first 3 years of his career, then went on to become a Hall of Fame quarterback, and in my opinion, definitely a top 3 quarterback ever. And Jordan Love possesses a lot of similar skill sets to Aaron Rodgers coming out of the draft, which is another reason I think the Packers drafted him, because they thought that, you know, he's one of these strong-armed quarterbacks like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. He's also dual threat like Aaron Rodgers, so maybe they could change him into their next franchise quarterback. Obviously, that didn't happen. Aaron Rodgers ends up winning back-to-back MVPs. Doesn't look so good for Jordan, and he recently just signed, I believe, a 2-year contract extension. It was originally 4 years, but it changed to 2 years, but he definitely signed a contract extension. That's at least what we know as of now. And we don't really know the future for Jordan Love. It seems like a lot of teams were calling about him, especially the Indianapolis Colts. They obviously just acquired Matt Ryan, but it seems like the Green Bay Packers still have held on to Jordan Love. They know that he has value. Other teams were apparently lowballing him. You know, I think the Colts offered a 3rd-round pick or something similar, and they declined because they know that Jordan Love has value. They see the talent in him. They don't want to give him up for nothing, especially when they spent a 1st-round pick on him 2 years ago. And the Packers are really in a strange predicament here. They can either choose to let Aaron Rodgers play out 1 season in Green Bay, then trade him or hope he retires, then start Jordan Love, or maybe they give Jordan Love some significant playing time this year, and maybe that increases his trade value, and then you trade him, but you're able to keep Aaron Rodgers. They really don't have a lot of options to do here, and the trade value for him is as low as it can be right now. I mean, obviously teams offering a 3rd-round pick for a guy that was a top 30 pick a couple years ago. If you're the Packers GM, you really don't love seeing that, so at that point, it might just be better for them to keep Jordan Love, which it seems like that's what they're going to do right now. But I encourage everyone to not write him off yet. Look at Aaron Rodgers, who obviously, I mentioned him earlier, sat his first 3 years of his career. People were writing him off as a bust then. Jordan Love is being written off as a bust right now, but he has all the talent in the world to be a superstar quarterback and win multiple MVPs in his career. I know he did not do great, but he was obviously very raw and a very big project quarterback coming out of the draft. So just give the guy a chance. I mean, he's barely gotten any playing time or anything to show his true value. And obviously, I'm not saying it wasn't a bad pick. The Packers could have utilized a receiver or a linebacker way more than Jordan Love, but it wasn't necessarily a bad pick either, considering the talent that Love had coming out of college and just the true raw upside of him as a player. So as many times as I have to keep repeating this, do not count Love out yet. Don't call him a bust when he's barely played any games. And keep an eye on him in the future, especially during this preseason if he gets a lot of significant playing time, because last preseason he balled out as well. I definitely think he's going to get the chance to show his worth and show that he has what it takes to be a starting quarterback, and a good starting quarterback at that, in the NFL.